Test, test.
I'll call the special city council meeting of August 14th, 2020 to order at noon. Roll call, please.
Mayor Copeland,
Here?
Tom Baylor is absent. Kathy Sherman,
Here.
Jeff Guard,
Here.
Melina Meyer,
Here.
Ann Schaefer,
Here.
David Allison,
Here.
and David Gleason is absent. That's a quorum of council.
Thank you. So here in the room, just for the audience, we have Public Works Director Sam, City Clerk, Deputy Clerk, and IT, and Councilman Allison, and myself. Is City Manager online, Helen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Approval of agenda.
Move to approve.
Have a motion. Is there any additions, deletions requested of the agenda? Hearing none, it'll stand approved as submitted. Does council have any conflicts of interest or ex parte communications to disclose? Hearing none, we have communications by and petitions from visitors. Incident management report. Do we have Dr. Sanders or someone online for IMT?
Paul.
Hi, this is Paul. I don't have anything at this time, although I would like to say that the school board has drafted a draft of their opening, so I think that's available to the public.
Great, thank you. Council, do you have any questions of Incident Commander Tremblay?
This is Councilman Schaefer.
Councilman Schaefer.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for sending out the updated testing schedules that are happening. And so just to clarify for the public, it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday that tests are now available at the airport and the clinics? Or is the airport every day and the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is just the clinics, the hospital in Oaxaca?
This is Helen. The airport is testing 7 days a week, and Oaxaca and the clinic have a different schedule.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Other questions, council? Okay, thank you, Paul. So for public comment, that call-in number again is 253-6202. And you can call in for audience comments on agenda items. Okay, we don't have any calls at this time, so we have staff reports and Cordova Volunteer Fire Department, quarter 1 and 2. Back to you, Paul. Is there any, it's a written report, so is there any questions, council?
Uh-oh, did we get disconnected?
Okay, hearing none, we have a staff report, Public Works Director, a COVID projects update.
Okay, I'm just gonna run through the list that I sent out last week and give you some updates. I'm gonna try to do this every Friday, at the very latest Monday, and just to keep you guys in the loop. So the big one, of course, is the RFP. We received one proposal. It was non-responsive, so we have no proposals. So moving forward with breaking up the projects, putting them out separately. I have working with a local contractor on the floors at Bedarkey and hopefully plumbing. We're splitting the shower unit out. I sent the lean-to to a structural engineer who is going to give us a materials list and a design, and I'll working with the fire marshal on that. I don't believe there's review, but I need to verify. And then the snack shack, I'm just going to send some local contracts and hope for the best there. So the shipyard restrooms are still at the fire marshal. The site strike team truck is on the council today. Ambulance bay improvements, Tom McGann worked with Ian and Paul on trying to get a scaled drawing and get what they needed onto paper. The permanent hand washing stations in the harbor have been given to Peterson's. They're working with Pettit on the plumbing portion of it, and Tony will be working on the logistics of getting them onto the docks. And then Doug will do the plumbing. And that's, the sneeze guard shipped. AML picked them up yesterday, so we won't get them till next week. Both the e-mist sprayers and the hand sanitizers are on a serious back order list. We're looking at different alternatives. There is a local source in town for the sprayers, and we did purchase one of those, and they seem to be pretty good. We're kind of test driving them before we get too many. And then the freestanding hand sanitizers, I think we're just gonna make it work with pumps and a table or a stool or somewhere so we can place them out in the open. So that's it. Any questions?
Questions, council?
Yeah, I don't have a question. I just appreciate the updates, Sam.
No problem.
Yeah, this is Councilman Schaefer.
Councilman Schaefer.
I don't have a question either. I was just going to say how it's super helpful to get that list out last week and then having the update this week. It's really nice, so thank you for that.
Other questions or comments, council? Okay, I still don't have any calls for audience comments. So unfinished business and new business, we have direction to manager to negotiate with Alaska Sales and Service, page 8 for the GMC 2500 HD Sierra.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Allison.
I move to direct the city manager to negotiate a contract with Alaska Sales and Service to provide one 2020 GMC 2500 HD Sierra double cab pickup per the state ITB ADOT state equipment fleet for a sum not to exceed $33,895.
Second, Sherman.
Have a motion, Allison, second Sherman. Would you like to speak to your motion, Councilman Allison?
No, I think it's a good idea to separate the garbage and the waste from the drivers and their equipment. So I think it's a good idea, good use, and we can probably use this piece of equipment for a number of years. Hopefully, when the pandemic is over. So,
Councilman Sherman, would you like to speak to your second?
I'm in agreement with Mr. Allison. Those are the same reasons I was thinking.
Okay, I'll just go through the list for discussion since it's only action item, really. Councilman Schaefer, discussion.
Yeah, I'm in support of this. My only question is if there's a plan for what department will use it after we're through all of this, or
Okay.
that remains to be seen.
Yeah, we'll refer that to the Public Works Director here.
It'll become a Parks and Recs truck, and trash is always removed by Parks and Recs, so in general, it's just a great idea to be able to separate that out. So, and the portable shower unit, you know, someday we're gonna have a brand new campground with a super cool bathhouse, and we'll move that one somewhere else. We need that truck.
Great, thank you.
Okay, and City Manager Helen is online, so I was referring her to staff through Helen, but just wanted to remind council that City Manager's online as well. We have the Public Works Director right here in the room by a mic, so it's convenient. That answers your question, Councilman Schaefer?
Yes.
Okay, great. And then Councilman Gleason is absent. And Vice Mayor Meyer, discussion, Chevy purchase.
No, I don't have anything else to add that hasn't been already said, and I am in favor of this. Thanks.
Councilman Baylor is absent. Councilman Guard, discussion.
I'm in support, no comment.
Okay, sounds like you're ready to vote. I'll pause for any further discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote.
David Allison,
Yes.
Ann Schaefer,
Yes.
Kathy Sherman,
Yes.
Melina Meyer,
Yes.
Jeff Guard.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, next item is discussion of COVID-19 emergency response. Before we start council discussion, Manager Howarth, did you have anything you'd like to, an update or anything you'd like to provide?
Yeah, two things. Number one, we had scheduled a special meeting next Wednesday to go over the budget, but there's a number of changes that are potentially going to happen on the federal level on how we can use our CARES funds, including possible revenue replacement. And there's apparently some instructions on how we might consider using our funds for schools. So I would like to have that clarification from the feds before we dig deeper into where are we now and what can we do in the next 3 months to get us fully extended on our CARES fund. So if that's agreeable to council, I'd like to postpone that until our work session right before our next regularly scheduled meeting, which I believe is September 2nd, which is hard to believe. It's already almost September. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is I just wanted to give you an update. Last council meeting, there was some question about how we can help the schools. We have not yet had a proposal of any kind from the school district. They're still evaluating what their needs are, but I did offer up, and the school district is utilizing the services of Heidi Embley, our communications consultant, who was communications director for the Anchorage School District for 10 years prior to working with us. So I feel like we've given them a good resource to help them get word out to the public. And yeah, that's all I have to report.
Okay, and then just because you had mentioned it to me, Helen, you've been in discussion though with the school superintendent to see what their needs might be and so forth. So
right,
yeah,
and they're still evaluating that. And I just said when you know, let us know. I'm not sure. And in the meantime, we'll get information about how we can use our CARES funds and whether it's an allowable expense. The school district did get some CARES fund money directly from the state. And they may be fine, but I think now that they have a plan on the ground, they might, it'll be a little easier to zero in on what their needs are.
Okay, thanks. So council, I kind of pushed the moving schedule or the meeting schedule and work session to the pending agenda, the next item. And I'll just go ahead and go through the list here for COVID-19 discussion. And I'll just go through councilman by councilman. Councilman Guard, COVID-19 discussion.
My only question still, and thank you, Helen, for the explanation on the money for the schools. I appreciate that. My only question still left over from last time is timing for voting by mail and absentees. With the news getting worse and worse about being able to rely on timetables from the Postal Service, I'd like to see what we can do to make sure that everybody gets a chance to vote, even if it is.
Sounds like a clerk question.
If you mean in our local elections, because there's nothing we can do now about this state or federal one, that's the state's baby. But Holly has a deadline to get me back the new code Title II that we're working on right now to make the adjustments that council came up with at that work session a little while ago. So yeah, I'll get with her on exactly how long we can go as far as allowing by mail. I think we had talked about extending it to 10 days, but maybe I think Ann Schaefer mentioned 2 weeks was the suggestion from other like think tanks and other people who are studying it right now. So we're going to make a change and we'll put in the best possible amount of time that we can do.
And the next city election is just March, and we don't have any special elections anticipated or bonds or anything.
Not anything I'm anticipating until March of 21.
Okay, does that help, Councilman Gerd?
Yeah, just one quick follow-up question. So no matter what we do on a city level for return of absentees, we're still at 1 week for the November election, through the state?
Sorry, I don't know the state's exact number right now. Is it a week? I don't know. Sorry. I feel like theirs has been more than a week, but
Yeah, it's a state election.
We don't have any control over the state, how the state handles it.
No, I understand we don't have any control over that. I was just trying to confirm in my own head what it was, but I will look into that further after we're done with this. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. COVID-19 discussion, Councilman Schaefer.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, to follow up on Councilman Guard's comment about the mail, I mean, yeah, at the national level, they're saying 2 weeks. And just anecdotally, I've had more than 2 or 3 packages that are currently delayed by over 2 weeks at this point. So it's a real thing that's happening right now already. And then my only other comment is there have been some concerns expressed on social media about out-of-state travelers that are still waiting on their negative tests that are coming into town for fishing season, like silver fishing. And they're still waiting on their negative tests, but they were observed going to grocery stores and other places in town. And I think that's especially a concern now that the school has their plan and they're trying to open up on a little bit of a faster schedule. And so it seems like there's a communication gap potentially here. And so what I'm wondering is if we need to update our signage at the stores or just like put up some new signs so they're shiny and new. Maybe update our handouts to arrivals to make it really clear. I'm not sure what the issue here. It does seem like there might be a communication gap. So I was just wondering what, or if there's something that we can do.
This is Helen. We have the ambassadors at the airport have all the current information and updated flyers. Harmony on the incident command team are making sure that those are in good supply. I think what we have here is an individual who, a group that decided to just ignore the rules, and it's really, really hard to police that. The state is still trying to figure out what they want to do on that end, because it is a state mandate. I'm not sure what we can do locally, but we'll certainly look into it. And Paul, I don't know, are you still online?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you want to respond to compliance when people come in for fishing especially and are not using the strict social distancing rules? They're going to grocery stores and they're not allowed to do that under the current state mandate. I don't know how we could police that, but maybe you could at least address how we might investigate it. I don't know.
You know, it's all personal responsibility to follow the rules and the mandates set forth. The state is even having a hard time policing and monitoring what's going on. And it's with the officer schedules that we have now here in town, chasing down loose ends would be really, really difficult. I honestly don't know how to address it. It's again just personal responsibility to make sure that they're doing the right things. You know, the public can call in if they witness something, but again, you know, it's up to the officer to go through all the codes and everything to prove it. So, I have no idea. And I know that probably didn't help anybody, but we're all in the same boat.
Yeah, and this is Councilman Schaefer, just with a follow-up. Yeah, I mean, I know enforcement is not realistic with the number of people we have on staff and, yeah, chasing down random people around town and checking up on them and whatnot. And so that's why I was wondering if there was something with communication in terms of signage at stores that would help. But I mean, I know there are signs up at stores, but at this point, they've probably been up for a while, so I didn't know if just having something bright and maybe in a different place, or they'll
There's new,
guy again.
there's new signage coming from the state.
Okay, that's great then.
I think Councilman Schaefer, I might just suggest the Chamber of Commerce. I know Kathy has been doing a good job of taking best practices from one business and sharing those with others, but everyone coming into town has to stay somewhere. So just reminding the businesses to communicate with their customers might help too. But Councilman Glasson's absent, and did we have Councilman Glasson or Baylor join us? I heard the phone ring. Okay, we may have dropped someone. So Councilman Sherman, COVID-19 discussion.
Well, Ann just corked me. I was going to say the same thing, but and I do agree. It's a different mentality of folks from the lower 48 that are coming in from places that aren't taking us quite as serious as we are here. So I think, again, personal responsibility for us, we have to try and protect everyone as best we can. But yeah, the attitude thing is really hard to deal with.
Maybe positive reinforcement. Cordova works hard to make sure that you enjoy your visit here and that you're safe while you do it, and we'd appreciate. This year, we're asking you to do the same for us. Other discussion, Councilman Sherman? Okay, Councilman Allison, COVID-19 discussion.
Yeah, I guess I got a few things. Just for everybody's information, when we're talking about the school and their CARES money, I think they only got 102,000. We might think that they got millions too, like the hospital and the city, but they only got 102,000, and obviously they've got extra PPE and extra staff and things like that. So yeah, I think they will be coming. They're making decisions every day, just like we are. So there's that. So I would expect them to come to us at some point in time, and I would hope that we, as a council and as a city, could find a way to help them make our kids safe and get them back in school this year. That said, what is the criteria and when are we considering moving from yellow to green, green to yellow, yellow to red, that kind of thing? Some of the discussion at the school was, everybody's pushing for the schools to open, but we're not even having meetings in person. So can somebody tell me what the criteria is for that? We haven't had a case in almost 2 weeks, and we're still at yellow status, I believe. So anybody?
Helen?
Yeah, so the hospital or the medical response team has their own internal matrix that they can come to city council and recommend moving up and down yellow to green, green to red, whatever they want to do. It's not public information at this time because they're still trying to work through the matrix. If Dr. Smith was on here, she could probably explain it just a little bit better. But it's up to the medical team whether or not they want to move the city in a direction with obviously the city manager's direction and also city council. But at some point in time, they're going to have to relay that information to the public so the public understands. Just like our public health alert system, it's public information, but it doesn't give a detail on how that information is moved. I do know that one of the matrix is 14 days with no positive cases. That being said, when a positive case goes from positive to recovered, that's when that date starts. So 14 days after that date, then they will move to a lower level, or in our case, from 3 to 2. But also the discussion on the health advisory plan is to remove level 2 green into a yellow, as we still have mandates and city rules.
And this is Helen. So the medical team is finalizing that document that Paul was just describing for council and public review, not review, but knowledge, I guess. It's just to get the word out about how they're doing it. And the matrix that they're looking at is a bit more complicated than a simple yellow, red, green, 2 cases, 4 cases, whatever it is. They're looking at, do we have adequate health? Do we have adequate testing? Do we have adequate capacity at our hospitals or other things? Do we have active cases or recovered cases? How many days? So they have a number of different steps along the way, which the community definitely would like to know about it, as council would as well. So she just sent a draft over to Paul and myself and Alex at the school district. And I think the medical team is still tweaking and finalizing a few things, but it should be ready for public to look at and council to look at very soon. I'll let you know as soon as that document is finalized by the medical response team.
I guess to follow up on that, you've heard my opinion in the past at different meetings, but I think with less than a dozen community cases and less than a dozen more processing cases, much less than a dozen. I think what we had total 17 cases, half of those in the processing industry, which is isolated from the town, and half from the community, and none of them have needed medical care at all. I think we're, and knock on woods, that will stay that way. But I think it's time that we started meeting in person. I think it's time that we open up City Hall. We expect the schools to open. We, meaning the community, has expressed that opinion to the schools. In fact, they changed their original plan was going to be the first 9 weeks all online, and they've since gone to a phased-in approach where only the first 2 weeks is going to be all online, and then they're going to start phasing kids into the school system, is what they approved this week anyway. So, but we can't hardly ask our kids and our teachers to go back to school when we're not even opening up City Hall, and we're not having meetings face-to-face, and we're not allowing the public to come in and make comments here. We make them call in. I just think it's time that we got back to business, and maintaining our flexibility for our vulnerable population, and maintaining our use of face masks when we can't have 6 foot distance, and their proper hygiene and everything. I'm not saying throw all of that away, but I'm just saying we haven't had very many cases in Cordova, and we haven't had any medical needs for that other than testing at the hospitals. So I think that we have done a good job. I hope that continue. But it's time to start reopening, and if that needs to be put on the pending agenda later on. But anyway, that's my COVID discussion for today.
Helen, did you have any comments on reopening, or just want to park that for future discussion?
I'm making comments. We're actively working towards reopening. I think it is absolutely correct that, if we're comfortable with schools opening, we should be comfortable with City Hall opening. And I think at this point, everyone should know that the only reason we're not opening is that we still have not gotten those plexiglass and other recommended and prevention systems in place, like the sneeze guards and the soap dispensers and things. And I think you heard earlier that there's been some delays in getting them here. But we are actively trying to get City Hall in a place where people who visit can feel safe and comfortable, as well as those who work there. So that is a priority, and we're on it. We have a reopening plan in place, and we're just trying to get some of those hard items installed, and then we'll be ready to go.
Okay, any further discussion on COVID-19, council?
Yeah, this is Melina.
Vice Mayor Meyer, I missed you along the way here.
It's okay. I guess just kind of going through some of the things and my thoughts on the discussion. One, with the post office, I'm very concerned about it, not just on the fact of our elections and how a lot of people are doing absentee for mail-in right now, but that is very important to this community and a lot of rural communities, especially in Alaska, because that's how we get our medications and goods and, I don't really need to say it to us. We're all pretty familiar how important the post office is to us, and I think a letter to our representatives on the national level would be important, and I would be in favor of something coming from our council to them or from the mayor going to them directly to speak about the importance of the post office for us. And the travel, it is hard. I know it's personal responsibility for these travelers coming in who aren't obeying by what are laid out for them and what's mandated for them to do. I don't think that as a community it would be easy for us to go through, but I know other countries, they're texting travelers or Alaskans who are driving through Canada to get back home. They have strict protocols, sticker on their vehicle, and have to check in with them every day through text or a phone call. And that's happening in other countries too. I don't know that we can do something like that on a local level, but if at least we can hand a packet out with all the mandate information to these travelers coming in, maybe that would help. I know at the hotel, it would be nice if we even had a packet there to hand them. We try to tell them the rules and all the mandates, but it would be nice to maybe have some pamphlet that's really direct on what they can and can't do, maybe. Just some ideas. I know I'm kind of working out some of those things for myself anyways, but maybe we could get something a little more robust for the traveling for people coming in. And then the schools, yeah, I'm on the same board. If they need any more help, I would really appreciate them coming to us, council, to help them. I know they didn't get as much CARES funding. We got some, even if it's not something that we can use it for or that we've already budgeted all our CARES funding for. The schools are very important to the community, and even when we haven't had the money, we've seemed to be able to find the money when, excuse me, some water. We've been able to find the money when they needed it additional for their budget. So if they need any other help, I think that we can find ways to help the schools to get the education to the students that they need. And I guess the last one was reopening City Hall. I think it's good to have those plans and not rush it until you have all the supplies that you need in there. I don't think that schools opening, we should open. Let's all, reopen. I think the schools are more of a priority of education, whether it's distance learning, opening a little bit in schools. Sounds like they have their plans. That's for them to work out, but I don't see them going hand to hand. I think that if we needed to have the schools open and everything else shut down, I think that, I'm not saying that we should go that route, but I see them as separate. Schools more of a priority for the school kids, and I don't think we should open up just because they are. I think we need to have everything in place to feel comfortable and go with the plans that we have. And I don't have anything else to add to the discussion. Those are just my thoughts on comments on other. Thanks.
Okay, next item is pending agenda, and I think the first thing I'll slip in, take Vice Mayor Meyer's lead is on our federal representatives. Congressman Young's going to be in Cordova August 24th, so that's the Monday after next, and I've been working with his staff to try to work out a good time for him to meet with council. He gets in on that Monday afternoon on Flight 66, and we'll have a meet and greet at the Powder House. He is up for election this year, so that'll be a meet and greet, and he'll have a campaign staff with him. That's 5:30 to 7:30 at the Powder House, Monday, August 24th. And I'm working with CDFU and the Chamber of Commerce and seafood marketing to kind of get that word out. But also I'm working with his staff to arrange meetings with the city council and tribal council. So we can discuss that a little bit, but he'll be available Monday or Tuesday morning before they catch 61 northbound. So if we want to have a small, meeting with community leaders, we can work that out. But that would be a good time to bring those things forward, like postal service and so forth. And he's been, of course, our congressman for a long time and transportation committee chair in the past. So pretty strong advocate of our marine highway system and fisheries and renewable energy and some of the other things we've had here in the community. So that's what I had. And then as Helen mentioned, I called Vice Mayor Meyer to kind of get her thoughts before I just kind of individually canceled next week's meeting, but the agenda was very light and we kind of needed to get the action item done today. So scheduled the special meeting today with the thought of deferring next week's meeting, particularly in the context of not really being prepared for the workshop. So what are council's thoughts there? Is that okay to move that work session on the budget and stuff up to September 2nd? Regular meeting?
This is Councilman Schaefer.
Councilman Schaefer. Sorry, I spoke over you. And again.
I'm just saying that, yeah, that scheduling is fine with me.
Okay, we'll pencil that in, and then I know it'll be really interesting to see the sales tax numbers. It's almost hard to fathom where we're seeing a bump over last year, whether it's online sales or, but that would be interesting. But other pending agenda items, council?
This is Melina.
Vice Mayor Meyer.
This isn't a pending agenda, but I thought I would mention it as I was talking about the out-of-state travelers. Kathy from the chamber just sent an email for the lodging providers in Cordova that looks like it has a lot of information on what to give out. So the chamber, she just sent it out about 6 minutes ago. So just wanted to add that.
Thank you. Susan?
I just wanted to say, can you clearly state, well, I guess I will clearly state that we are canceling the second regular meeting in August, and that is why we kind of had this special meeting in its place. And we can always have another special if we need to, if something arises, but otherwise the next regular meeting will be September 2nd. Thank you.
So that's a procedural thing. Is there any objection, council, to canceling next week's regular meeting?
No.
No objection.
Nope.
Okay, we can let the record reflect that the council meeting was canceled for next week. Other pending agenda items, council? I think we've got so far is a budget workshop for the next regular meeting in September. We have a congressional visit August 25th, 26th.
I guess one other thing, Councilmember Meyer mentioned a letter or even something from council about the post office. And granted, you mentioned Don Young, and
Yeah.
that would be helpful. Melina, I don't know if you wanted me to put something on pending agenda about that, or actually get a resolution going, or council at the next meeting can direct the mayor to write a letter, or anything more than that? Or was what the mayor mentioned sufficient?
Well, yeah, because
If there's another council member that feels really strongly about it too, then yeah, I'd be in favor of a resolution from council, or if the mayor has time to do a letter, I think that would be enough. But if there's another council member that feels the same way, then I think we should put it on pending agenda in some fashion.
This is Sherman. I would agree with that.
I support that.
Okay, agree with the resolution?
I would too.
I think that's what they're saying.
Okay,
And I'll get that started for the second, and maybe you can help me.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
So we've got, I heard more than 2 councilmen, so we get it on the agenda and then take a look at it. I guess looking out farther, I'm hopeful that Senator Sullivan, U.S. Senator Sullivan will be visiting in October as well, around the 9th or 10th or 11th. Is still tentatively working with the Coast Guard Command too to try to host the celebration of the U.S. Coast Guard City designation at that time too. So just a little reminder. Anything else for pending agenda calendar? Okay, well,
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Sorry. So during the meeting, I emailed Lori Wilson, who's Region 1 Elections Department head from Juneau, and it's 10 days for the state. Absentee by mail ballots must be postmarked on or before Election Day and received within 10 days.
yeah. And so national mail would be absentee from those out of state. In-state absentee, I don't know that we're having in-state issues. At least I haven't seen them. So anyway, but
And the state does have drop boxes, not in very many places, but there are like 4, I think, across the state. Locally, I'll be less worried about this year, at least. You know, if a lot of people locally are doing it by mail, they can do the drop box, which will be right here at City Hall. But I will certainly extend to at least 2 weeks. I think that'll be easy to do in the code change.
okay. So we're at audience participation again at 253-6202. And was there any other pending agenda and calendar items, Council? Okay, hearing none. Again, yes, that was, I think somebody's unmuted. Okay, again, for audience participation, that number is 253-6202. But we'll go to council comments and start with Councilman Schaefer.
Hi, yeah, I just want to thank everyone for their hard work and remind everyone to fill out the census. It takes 5 to 10 minutes. You can do it at 2020census.gov. And then also today's the last day to comment on the 2020 Winter Ferry operating plan. And so to Alaska DOT, the email to send it to is dot.amhs.comments@alaska.gov. So if you have opinions about the ferry schedule for this coming winter, make sure you get those comments in. And I do know that Kathy at the chamber made a template, like if you're not comfortable coming up with your own thing, I think there is a template that the chamber provided to help you get your comments in. So that is a good resource. And don't forget to vote. Primary is on Tuesday. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Schaefer. It does sound like someone has their phone unmuted, so check and make sure your phone's muted. Comments, Councilman Gleason and Baylor are absent. Councilman Sherman, council comments.
Sure, thank you. I was just going to comment that I did vote absentee, and the setup was really well done and understandable and easy to do, so I appreciated that. I appreciated all the updates from the manager and from Sam at Public Works. And I was also going to compliment our street is getting chip sealed today, and we found very nice notes on our doorstep yesterday to prepare us for this, so none of us were trapped up here, and that was extra effort that was greatly appreciated. So that's my comment.
Thank you. Councilman Guard, council comments.
I'd like to echo the comments on thanks to the staff on all the updates and the information. It makes life a little bit easier to have information growing readily and at our fingertips. even if it's not huge piles of information, it is greatly appreciated. Anyway, thank you very much. Those are my comments.
Councilman Allison.
No comment today, thank you.
And the final word goes to Vice Mayor Meyer.
No comments. Everything that was said before was good information. Thank you.
Okay, we had no calls for audience participation, so we have no executive session and only one remaining motion.
Move to adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn. Is there any objection? We're adjourned.